Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's One Piece Treasure Cruise video we are going to discuss about the upcoming super evolution of V2 Doflamingo. We are going to go over the current unit and of course the improvements that he will get with his super evolution and see how good he really is. If you are wondering how you can super evolve Doflamingo, you will be able to do so by acquiring super evolution scrolls in the next Kizuna vs Chopper. That event of course will arrive after the treasure map concludes. For the current version of V2 Doflamingo and his captain ability, if your crew has 6 driven characters, then you get a boost in attack for 3.9 times, of course, not a very good one, especially with the requirement of 6 driven units, that now are better in the game for certain, but back in the day with V2 Doflamingo, not a lot of great driven characters were available. If your slots do not match, the boost of attack becomes 3.25 times, a very underwhelming boost, and he also boosts HP by 1.2 times, making Dex and Q slots beneficial, while also drastically reducing the chances of landing on a strength slot because of course he's a Dex unit and strength slots are not beneficial. Tons of problems of course with this captain ability, a very outdated one, the 6 driven characters on the team restriction I am not a fan of. Of course the boosting is not that good, and I would actually prefer him making strength slots beneficial than drastically reducing the chances of getting them, but it is not the end of the world. The boosts here and the requirement are the main problems. With his sailor abilities he also makes more slots matching, Q ones for himself as a sub and Dex ones for all of the driven characters in the team. Nothing major but not too shabby either. For his special ability, we all know V2 Doflamingo is able to do tons of damage, but after the Now debuff was introduced, V2 Doflamingo pretty much became unusable in all of the quests that had this debuff. Normal attacks of course only allows you to do damage with normal attacks and not any kind of special, except of course if it is specifically stated in the special that it can bypass Now, just like in Roger's case. Doflamingo is able to do 2 times the amount of damage dealt beyond enemies' HP with normal attacks in the previous turn. And that doesn't really have a limit, you can do tons and tons of damage with Dofi, but in order for you to actually use him these days, the situation needs to be extremely specific and you need to build around him as well. Definitely not a very convenient way to beat a quest. Still, if the second to last stage boss has resilience and you do not remove it but instead apply end of turn damage, then you can keep the enemy active while you do overkill damage, and that of course goes to the Dofi counter, so he can apply it next turn if possible, but again a pretty specific situation. In addition to that, as we saw, Doflamingo's special does not include any boost in damage or utility, it is just raw damage, so let's see how the super evolution will improve on this V2 Doflamingo unit. First of all, Doflamingo remains a Dex unit and he also will be driven and cerebral, so nothing changes here. But for his captain ability, he boosts driven characters' HP by 1.4 times, their attack by 4.5 with matching slots and 3.75 otherwise. He makes their Dex and Q slots beneficial while again reducing the chance of landing on strength slots. The second part of his captain ability remains the same while the first part gets improved. That is great because now not only does he provide higher boosting in attack, but he also does not require 6 driven characters anymore, a pretty outdated mechanic that I am very glad they got rid of. Will this captain ability make V2 Doflamingo a great captain? No, I do not think so. You still need to have matching slots for him to give you a high attack boost and he only boosts driven characters. But again, this is definitely an improvement over his 6-star form. The important part will be his special, so let's take a look at this one. He deals 2.5 times the amount of damage dealt beyond enemies' HP with normal attacks in the previous turn in non-type damage to all enemies, so from 2 times to 2.5 times. And after the parenthesis, which remains the same, if crew has Now, then he boosts driven characters' attack by 2.5 times, very high amount, and makes their Psi and Int slots having matching slot effects. Finally, he gets some utility with the slots as beneficial, and he can provide our team with a boost in damage. Only for driven characters, but of course he is a driven centric unit, so it absolutely makes sense. A very obvious improvement for V2 Doflamingo that if you actually decide to make a driven team without using the superclass Doflamingo unit, then you can definitely use him. For example, he can now be used in teams with Moria because Dofi can provide an attack boost while Moria can give you an ore boost and a color affinity boost. He can also be paired up with Ulti and Page 1, and even versus Akainu, among other units. Generally, if a unit can give you an ore boost, a chain lock, a color affinity boost, or another kind of damage, not an attack boost, it can be paired up with this Doflamingo. I am pretty happy with this super evolution. The captain ability change is not crazy, but I believe as a sub he is way more usable. It is great that they actually improved him to not being completely locked out of a quest if it has now. In conclusion, how much better is 6 plus Doflamingo than the 6-star form? I think that it is definitely an improvement, as we said. The artwork is much better, in my opinion, very good artwork. And as a captain, he won't be used that often. Definitely don't see him being run as double captain. Maybe as a combo captain with another deck super type or superclass unit. But alone as double captain, I don't see it other than treasure maps, point booster events, or maybe a Kizuna boss. But as a sub, I definitely can see him being used now, even in quests with now, as someone to provide damage. He is still not able to provide great utility. Unfortunately, the beneficial slots will only apply for one turn, meaning you cannot carry it over to another stage and possibly evade a non-beneficial slots debuff that the enemy would give you, so that's kind of a bummer, but I guess it is better than to just have a raw attack boost. At the end of the day, he can still provide the unique damage output that only V2 Doflamingo can provide in One Piece Treasure Cruise, and it is now even increased to 2.5 times rather than 2 times. That remains an option whenever you can use it, but he can now also provide a 2.5 times attack boost, which is pretty high for driven teams. He of course remains a normal unit, not a super type unit or a superclass unit, which I am absolutely fine with, and I am happy that he doesn't actually change color and he remains Dex. But what do you think about V2 Doflamingo and the new super evolution? Are you satisfied with it, or did you expect more from him that Bandai did not give us? Tell me in the comments down below. Let's also do something fun to keep track of the super evolutions we as a community are happy with and the ones we are not, starting with this V2 6 plus Doflamingo. Go to the poll I made, you can find the link in the description or in the pinned comment, and vote if you are happy with V2 6 plus Doflamingo or not. I will keep track of the progress of its super evolution poll, and later on in the year we can see if the super evolution aged well or it aged poorly and it was not that good of a super evolution. If you enjoyed these videos, definitely leave a like, I would really appreciate it and it helps the channel grow, and also subscribe for more OPTC content. Thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.